We've all heard about how devastating viruses can be to humanity. Just take a look at the damage that COVID-19 has done to our society over the last 2 years. But viruses have been around long before we came onto the scene, and they'll still be here long after we're gone. So what we need to know is just how much damage they've really done over the course of human history. And while you're watching this, keep in mind that all those plagues that happened in the past are just a preview of what could happen again in the future. If we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. So in today's video, we're gonna find out when viruses strike back. How do people fight back? We'll begin with a little bug going around. First recorded outbreak was in 1881 in what is now Papua New Guinea. It started in a mining village, but spread quickly thereafter. The symptoms were pretty normal for a virus, with fever, headache, muscle pain, joint pain, nausea, and fatigue. But there was also something different about it. Something that would become its signature symptom: severe bloody diarrhea. This new disease was named the Samoan disease after the island where it was first identified. It caused huge waves of death throughout Oceania, especially amongst children under the age of 5. Smallpox was another viral scourge that afflicted humankind for thousands of years. One of the earliest known outbreaks was in Egypt in 3000 BCE. Its symptoms were similar to that of its modern cousin, varicella, which causes chickenpox. It caused blisters, fever, headache, chills, and vomiting. Some historians believe that smallpox was brought to Europe by Italian traders returning from India. By 1520, it had reached Russia, France, Germany, and England. In the next few centuries, it spread around the world. It was so prevalent that 60% of the people who died in the 20th century died from smallpox. Entire communities would be wiped out. Survivors were left with permanent scars. But then, in 1966, the World Health Organization declared that smallpox had been eradicated. It was one of humanity's greatest triumphs, a testament to what we can accomplish when we work together towards a common goal. But the Black Death was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced up until that point. It started in Central Asia and moved west along trade routes, arriving in Europe in 1347. It's believed that rats were the primary hosts, carrying the disease across the seas on ships, arriving in port cities like Messina, Italy. From there, it spread to every corner of Europe. No one knew what caused it or how to stop it. People fled the cities. Trade routes shut down. Whole villages were wiped out within days. Historians estimate that half of all Europeans died from the plague, which eventually subsided by 1351. It never truly went away. However, cases flared up periodically until the end of the 1700s, and there's no shortage of other epidemics that have hit humanity hard over the course of history. For example, the 1918 flu pandemic was one of the worst natural disasters in modern history. It infected an estimated 500 million people worldwide, including US President Woodrow Wilson. At least 50 million people died, including a disproportionate number of young adults and children. Then there's the Asian flu pandemic of 2009, which was caused by a new strain of the influenza, a virus. It was especially dangerous for those under 65 years old. More than 150,000 people died. Most recently, of course, there's COVID-19, which has killed more than 6 million people so far. You might think that these epidemics were the result of some random act of nature, a bad hand that we were dealt. But actually, these diseases were brought on by changes in human activity. As humans continue to expand their territory, we put ourselves in close contact with species that we've never interacted with before. We're encroaching further and further into animal habitats, which increases the chances of diseases jumping from animals to humans. When the Black Death arrived in Europe in the mid-1300s, for example, It's thought that it arrived on ships coming from Asia. Likewise, HIV is thought to have originated in chimpanzees in Cameroon. As humans continue to encroach further and further into animal habitats, we're increasing the chances of novel pathogens jumping into the human population. So what does this mean for the future? Well, according to Bill Feige, director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research in Seattle, we should expect more diseases to jump from animals to humans. He says that it's not a matter of if this happens, but when. So what should we do about it? Should we retreat back into the cities and abandon the wilderness to the animals? Should we build walls around our cities to keep the disease out? Or are there other solutions? Well, first, it helps to understand how pathogens evolve. Pathogens evolve in the same way that all other living things evolve, through natural selection. Over time, pathogens that are better at infecting humans will become more common. This is why it's so important to develop new vaccines and treatments for diseases. If we don't, then the pathogens will simply evolve to become resistant to our defenses. Second, we need to be prepared for the next pandemic. This means having systems in place to quickly identify and respond to new diseases. It also means educating the public about the risks of pandemics and what to do in the event of one. Finally, we need to work on developing new technologies to combat diseases. This includes developing new vaccines and treatments, but also developing new ways to prevent diseases from spreading in the first place. Even though the plagues of the past seem like ancient history, they're actually a vital part of our recent history. We can learn a lot from them, not only about the diseases themselves, but also about ourselves. The plagues have changed the course of human history, and they will continue to do so in the future. It's up to us to make sure that we're prepared for whatever comes our way. The most important lesson we can take from the plagues of the past is that we're not alone in this. We've survived pandemics before, and we will survive this one too. It's important to remember that even in the darkest of times, there is hope. If we pull together and work as a team, we can overcome anything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you're notified when we release a new video.